Another way to characterize failures of a component or a subsystem is something that we refer to as the black box model. When Vertigo performs PFD calculations, it's going to perform those calculations on typical voting arrangements. 1 out of 1, 1 out of 2, 2 out of 2, 2 out of 3, and so on. In some cases, a subsystem is comprised of a complex configuration of equipment with novel or unique voting arrangements for which the standard voting arrangements that are in the database, they simply don't apply. So instead of putting in the failure rate characteristics and having Vertigo calculate the PFD, you can calculate the PFD with an external tool and then input the results. A very common place to do that would be with logic solvers. Logic solvers are very complex with lots of associated equipment items and very complex voting and repair schemes. A lot of times it makes the most sense to have your equipment vendor tell you the probability of failure on demand and spurious trip rate of the logic solver subsystem and use that information directly instead of trying to put in the failure rates and have it calculated inside the software. So let me go ahead and show you how to incorporate a black box model. So first off, once again, you would put in a type, and let's just say logic solver PBM, and then a description of black box model for the logic solver. And then I will simply click on the checkbox that says black box model. When you do that, it changes the information that's going to be gathered and stored about the subsystem. So now, whereas previously you had failure rates and say failure fraction, here you're directly going to enter in the PFD average and the spurious trip rate. So let's say the PFD was something like 2.0 E minus 5, and the spurious trip rate per hour is something like 2.0 E minus 9. So now, instead of having Vertigo calculate those figures, you're entering them in directly. Then you're also going to need to put in some other information to round out the SIL verification calculation information that is not necessarily associated with the PFD. So you will put in something like, well, what is the hardware fault tolerance that's achieved? So let's say this was a 2 out of 3 voting arrangement, so that achieves 1 degree of hardware fault tolerance. And then if it is a certified device, let's say it was certified to SIL 3, you put that information in directly instead of having the software calculate what it is. And the data reference would be vendor report, for instance, and you could give it a vendor report number. And with a logic solver, obviously, architectural constraint type is going to be type B. And then insert the information that way, and then you see, boom, there you go. You have the logic solver black box model. When you see the list, it appears that a lot of the information is missing, and well, that's because the information is in a different format whenever you have a black box model. If you want to see the details, you need to bring up the details page to view that information again.